So if you're anything like me, then you love going to the gym, you love weightlifting, and you want to get a great physique, you're really into your fitness, and maybe you're just starting your fitness journey, maybe you're a couple of years into it like I am. You're probably also looking for ways to increase your testosterone naturally. You don't really want to jump on the gear, so you want to keep everything natural, and you want to be able to increase your testosterone, which is going to help build muscle, and it's going to help you to lose fat and just be more motivated and look better and feel better. So today I'm going to go through the top 4 best ways that you can actually increase your testosterone at the gym completely naturally. Okay, so I've got a little presentation for you guys, and I'm going to go through the 4 best ways that you can increase your testosterone naturally whilst you're at the gym. So the first one is getting close to failure. So I often made the mistake and was under the assumption that going all out at the gym, constantly going to failure, would be the best way to get gains at the gym. And that is a good way to get gains at the gym. I actually first learned this story when I was first starting out at the gym about 3 years ago. I was looking at a YouTuber who you might know called Athlean X. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that he gave me was that every single session you do, every single set at the gym, you should go to failure. And I took this advice very seriously. I was kind of not very knowledgeable at the time, and I just went into the gym going to failure on every single set. And now I've recently learned from Andrew Huberman, who is a really brilliant scientist, podcaster. I'd definitely go listen to him if you're not already, that actually the studies show that going to failure on every single set is not necessarily the most optimal way to actually improve and increase your testosterone levels at the gym. And we all want to improve our testosterone levels. So when you're actually doing an exercise, on your last set, try and get very close to failure. So you don't necessarily have to go all out to failure. Maybe some weeks you could go all out to failure. But what I've been doing recently is actually just getting pretty close to failure. About 90% of what I could probably go to. Probably maybe 1 rep left in the tank. And that's just been proven in studies to be the best way to release testosterone. If you actually do more than that and you go to failure every single set at the end of every single exercise, it's actually going to increase what's called cortisol. Now, cortisol is a healthy hormone that is involved in feeling stressed. But if you have too much cortisol is needed for testosterone production. But if you have too much of it, it's actually going to overburden your system. It's going to impact your recovery, and it's actually going to lower the amount of testosterone that you could be capable of releasing in that gym session. So that's the first tip I'd give you, is just get close to failure, not necessarily all the way to failure. Okay, so the second tip is super important, and this is something that I actually only recently learned. I didn't actually know this before, so I'm going to give you guys this bit of information now, is actually to do weight training before cardio. So what I often did, and it was a big mistake when I was first starting out, I used to think that I could warm my legs up by going on the bike, on the the resistance bike, for about 15 minutes, right? I used to think this would be a really good way of warming my legs up, which it kind of is. But there's way better ways you can warm your legs up just by doing some body weight squats or doing something like that. What I was actually doing, and I didn't realize I was doing this to myself, is I was actually doing cardio first before weight training. And that's been shown in studies. They did a controlled study with a bunch of different groups of people. And the people that did cardio first and then did weight training actually had decreased testosterone levels before they even went into training. So there's something about doing cardio first and then weight training that's actually sapping away the benefits of that weight training on testosterone production. It's probably because your body's using the cortisol that you generate from cardio to make testosterone, which is way less. And then when you go into the actual lifting of the weights, you've kind of already used up the cortisol. Now that could be wrong, but that could be the reason why. I'm just speculating there. Do your weights before your cardio and do your cardio after your weights. That is going to be the best way to increase testosterone. And actually, you want to make sure you're not doing cardio before weights, because it can actually decrease your testosterone. And if you're like me, you'll want to focus on doing the weights first because you want to increase your testosterone naturally. 100% do weights first. Okay, and tip number 3 is to do heavier strength training. So a big problem I had when I was first starting out is I'd really focus on hypertrophy, I think way too much. So what I would do if I was starting out at the gym, or if you're still at the gym, still going to the gym, I'd definitely focus more on strength. Now, this is something I didn't focus on that much because I was, told that thing that a lot of fitness influencers tell us, which is we don't want to injure ourselves. It's not worth it. And while that's true, you should definitely avoid injury, do things safely, make sure you've got good form on exercises. Just try and focus on strength training a bit more from the get-go. I've started doing this recently, and I've started working in a rep range that's more like 4 to 8 reps rather than like 8 to 15 reps. So 8 to 15 reps is like lower weight, high volume, pumping a lot of reps out, just kind of chasing that pump like what Arnold would used to say, right? But I think to optimize your testosterone levels, to feel better at the gym, and also not to spend loads of time at the gym, to mix up your training style, definitely do 1 week of strength training and 1 week that's more high volume. So it's a big mistake that I got into when I was just starting out. And I just think since I've started incorporating more strength sessions, not only have I got stronger, but my sessions at the gym just feel a bit more interesting. I'm not kind of going through with the motions at the gym. You can get caught up in this thing where you kind of keep going back and doing the same thing, the same weights, the same reps. And I think when you mix it up and do a strength week and a hypertrophy week, not only is it going to help increase your testosterone on the strength weeks, but it's also going to just mix up your training, make it more interesting, and ultimately you'll just end up going to the gym longer, won't feel unmotivated to go to the gym, and it should just improve your results overall. And then also, when you're doing the strength weeks, focus more on progressive overload on those weeks. So I always go for my PRs and my heavier weights that I'm not really used to, maybe adding 5, 10 kg onto them on the strength weeks. So yeah, that's another tip for you there as well. And then the last tip to improve your testosterone production with the gym is to focus more on your recovery. So this is something that I took a long time to grasp on my fitness journey, was this idea of actually prioritizing recovery. I think a lot of us, and me especially, you can get into this kind of mindset that recovery is literally just not going to the gym. But recovery is kind of like a task in itself. You need to actually work on recovery and understand how to recover correctly. So when you're at the gym, you will build up cortisol. Okay, so cortisol is this hormone, like I've described, that is a stress hormone, and it's needed to produce testosterone. But when you produce lots of cortisol, i.e. when you're weight training, it actually, if you produce way too much of it, it impacts your recovery, right? So you need to focus on actually being able to recover from those exercises, because that's ultimately when the testosterone is actually produced, right? So when you're actually sleeping, when you're eating clean, when you're not doing too much other like exercise after the gym as well. A big mistake I used to make was I used to go to the gym, do cardio at the gym, and then I'd also go for a walk at night. And while going for walks is great, good for your mental health, getting outside, getting to nature, I was doing it way too often where I go for a walk every single day, like a 45-minute walk, and I'd kind of prioritize doing the walk over maybe getting to bed early. Like if I had a lot of work to do, let's say I had a lot of work to do and then I needed to get to bed by like 9:30, and I got the work done at like 8:30, 8:45. I would then go on a walk regardless of the fact that it would eat into the time it would take to get to bed. Does that make sense? So that was going to impact my recovery. And this has just been shown through numerous studies, and you can find this information all over, that if you don't prioritize your recovery, ultimately you're not going to be able to produce as much testosterone from that gym session. You're not going to be able to gain the benefits, and not only just like the testosterone aspect of it, but you're not even going to be able to build the actual muscle mass that you were trying to build at the gym if you don't focus on recovery. So 100% you need to shift more of your focus onto your actual recovery at the gym. They're the 4 main tips I'd give you that I've learned from listening to Andrew Huberman's podcasts, watching other fitness YouTubers who I trust and everything, and just from my own personal experience as well. And I've done a bit of reading and researching at some papers as well, just to kind of back up some of the claims that I put in this video. So I hope that helps you guys. I hope you got some value out of this video. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one.